This is Joe Crispin, former Penn State and professional basketball player. You are listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast.
I think you said that he could have gotten more separation.
There were some technique fundamentals in receiver that weren't perfect in the 80s. I had to throw in a few points of criticism.
What was it like playing in March Madness? I mean, we have it going on right now.
But playing it was amazing. I mean, like, that's kind of your whole goal is to just be a part of that. It's such a special thing where the whole country is tuning in and anything is really possible, you know.
You know, my optimistic side said, like I said, that we're going to be okay. We just had a bad game. We're probably experimenting a little bit, ran into a good team. So.
If Miami came to our house, we would probably, if anything, win. We wouldn't get blown out.
When you first started playing football, you know, did you always want to play in college?
No, I was growing up. I was a big baseball guy. Loved baseball. And then 8th grade, I remember I got a call from my uncle, Coach Nagel. He's like, hey, I got the job. And I was just like, all right, I'll play football for you.
You are listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast, a podcast by diehard fans for fans. It's as honest and as raw as sports talk can be. Thank you for listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast.
Hey, everybody, this is Greg Garrity.
So Anthony Lottie will punt it away from the 41. Greg Garrity is the deep man for Penn State at the 10-yard line.
Former Penn State receiver and 2016 Big Ten champion. You're listening to the best Penn State Nittany Lion podcast, the Mark Lesko Podcast.
Welcome back in, everyone, to another episode of the Mark Lesko Podcast. Covering the bye week here with Brett and Jared. Welcome back on, guys.
What's going on?
What's going on, guys?
How are you guys feeling tonight?
Pretty tired, man, but I'm here and ready to talk ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
I'm trying to adjust the volume right now on this. That's weird. Like my headphone volume is the same, even though I turned it up and down. That's weird. What the heck? But
well, right now, I don't know if it's my connection, but you two are like freezing.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's yours, Jared. Yeah, we sometimes yours is like delayed too.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a Godzilla movie in the 50s. But yeah, I got some feedback recently, and someone was listening to it on audio, and they said that when I was playing some clips, like they couldn't see what was going on, which honestly, man, like I don't even know I don't know anyone personally besides this person that listens to just audio anymore. I feel like it's all video now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even Spotify's video. But yeah, so I'm gonna start saying like I'm on audio, you know, so that like explain like what the audio is and or what we're watching on audio for audio. But I just put it into Anchor, and then it converts to like video on Spotify, but on Apple Podcasts it doesn't. Like Apple Podcasts is still just straight like audio.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny because it's Apple. You would think they would be like ahead of that by now, but I guess not.
No.
But yeah, it's a bye week. Pretty crappy time right now. Like not having a game. I hate bye weeks.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to get into the Steelers, but I used to hate bye weeks for the Steelers, and like now I like barely watch them. So, like, the NFL just, yeah, I'm so turned away from the NFL by now. It's kind of surprising, but college football, it's what I love. Penn State's what I love, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. But real quick, I don't know if you can hear the audio or not, but I want to play that clip of that Ryan Williams touchdown. You know, that we talked about it before, but man, that was wild what he did. That was such a crazy play.
Well, after today's game, they're calling
I know.
They're calling the quarterback Jalen mid-throw. So I guess he didn't have a good game.
I would imagine. But yeah, they lost to Tennessee, which, I called that, man. I said Tennessee, between them and Tennessee, one of them is probably going to the national title. And I think Tennessee is really good. I mean, beating Alabama is not easy whatsoever. And they took them down. And then we got USC lost. Even Oregon, man. Like speaking of what I've been saying, not putting up enough points for Penn State, Oregon beat Purdue 35-0. I mean, that's nothing. That's good, but Purdue's 1-5. That's horrible.
It's a shutout, though. I mean, they didn't let them score, so that's good.
Yeah. But so overall, pretty consistent across the board for college football right now. But Penn State so far we're undefeated. I'll pull up the schedule here.
Oh, quick take on Tennessee. I mean, they lost to Arkansas. Alabama's falling down. We'll see how good Tennessee is. I don't think the quarterback's playing very good. I mean, his stat line was not great. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think they're for real.
Who are you talking about?
Tennessee. I don't think they're great. No. I think they're very – anyone's mortal right now. I mean, nobody's a superhuman team, so that's the good thing. But nobody looks – I mean, Texas and Georgia, we'll see. I mean, Texas's quarterback was out for weeks. We'll see. He had to knock the rust off last week, which Oklahoma didn't have an offense, so we'll see.
Yeah, and Georgia and Texas, I mean, let's say Georgia wins.
That'd be good.
Ohio State's 1. Oregon's 1. Ohio State's 2. We're 3. I don't think we're moving up. And I would highly doubt Georgia would move into they should move into the top 4, but I don't think they should jump us or be number 1 by any means. But Alabama's pretty much cooked.
Yeah, cooked.
It's really going to come down to us in Ohio State, man. The Big Ten is definitely going to be the team that makes a difference for sure. So we'll see how it plays out. But what are you guys' thoughts on we're 6-0, haven't lost. We got Wisconsin next week on the road. Then we got Ohio State at home. My contemplation is whether I should go or not, because that could be historical if we win that game.
Yeah.
So Brett, what do you think about next week?
I mean, Wisconsin's they played Northwestern today. What was the score? I didn't even see the score of that game. Let me see here. Let's see. But I mean, Wisconsin destroyed Rutgers last week. Rutgers was getting beat today, I think, too. So they might be just going downhill completely. So maybe Rutgers isn't as good as we thought, which we knew they weren't great, but they were pretty decent to start the year. And they were decent last year. I mean, playing at Camp Randall's no easy task to begin with, but then you got it at 7:30. I mean, that just makes it. But Penn State plays good. Night games, I think we come alive. We play our best games at night. Let's be honest here. Mm-hmm. Think about it. Look at our records at night, and just the Illinois game, we should have scored more points, but our defense was going crazy. Wisconsin beat Northwestern 23-3. Northwestern's not good, so that's not impressive. But I mean, like I said, we can't look past them.
Brett, I don't mean to cut you off. Jared, I'm picking up squeaking in your background.
Okay, there's nothing in this room that would make that happen.
Yeah, I think it's just the way the audio is coming through. You hear that, Brett?
I don't hear anything.
Jared, try hopping out and coming back in.
Okay, bud.
I don't think it's my audio or anything. But, go ahead, Brett. Keep going.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, going to Wisconsin on the road, I think our boys will be ready for it. But, it's not something we can look past. And I know Franklin and the team, they're definitely not looking past them, especially after bye week. I know bye week sucks. It's we're down because we don't get to see Penn State play. But if there was a bye week that we needed, It definitely wasn't week 3 like we had before. It was right now because we have bumps and bruises all across the board. Offense, defense. People were playing hurt. Nick obviously played hurt last week, right? Did you see that
Yes.
the game tying touchdown? The way he ran, dude, he was like wobbly. Like you could tell he was going through an injury, probably a sprain or some type of ankle something. But our offensive line's pretty beat up. We need to get healthy there. Caden Saunders, we should be getting him back at some point. And I know Zion Tracy's been doing okay for the punt returns, but Caden Saunders has more ability to make guys miss because he has more experience in it. Zion Tracy, I think, will get there, but he needs to take more snaps. Defensively, Kobe King, Dom DeLuca, they're all playing through injuries too. I mean, Dom DeLuca's been playing with his hand wrapped. So, I mean, we've been pretty beat up across the board. So I am happy we had a bye week now because we got to get healthy, fix the running game, figure out what's going on there because the last 2 weeks we didn't look great. We weren't dominating the line of scrimmage when it mattered to running the ball. We didn't allow a sack last week, so that's good news. But when it came to the running game, it was non-existent. So we got to get back to that because we can't. Obviously, Drew won the game for us last week and everything worked out, but that's not how we want to play. We want to run first and then get off to play action and throw downfield off that. So if we can fix the running game, I think we'll be in good shape next week. And like I said, I'm not super nervous about it, but there's just a part of me that's like, all right, well, when things start to go good for Penn State, something happens usually. So there's always that that fear in your head, 6-0. We always pretty much start off 6-0, and then something will happen. So if we can go to Wisconsin, maybe not even – well, obviously we want to dominate them, but if we can beat them by 10 points or something, I'll be happy with that. That's a road win. Let's move on for Ohio State. So I think the boys will be ready, and I'm eager to see what goes on.
Yeah, I was talking to an offensive coordinator, former offensive coordinator last night for high school, and he's a big Kotelnicki guy, big Penn State fan. I'm going to have him on at some point. And he said that he thinks that they're being calculated with the offense, like we've talked about on here, which is what I've been wondering what's going on. And so that, for him to say that, I think that must be what they're doing. They're just being like methodical with their offense, being just doing what they need to do. And I agree with Brett on the fact that if we beat Wisconsin by like 10 to 17 points, like that's a great win for me. It's on the road. I don't really care how we win, just as long as we win. I mean, I don't want to win by like 3 or by 2 or something like that, or win the last minute. I think we're going to dominate them, but it's on the road. It's at night. It's going to be tough. Probably a blackout or a red out or something like that. But overall, it's going forward. Now, like you just said, Brett, I thought about that too. The fact that, we always start out like 5-6-0, like 21. We looked really good, lost on the road against Iowa. Now that was a joke of a game because
Clifford got hurt. Clifford got hurt. We won by 2 scores. Sorry.
Of course, Iowa being Iowa, they stormed the field because that fan base is absolutely clueless when it comes to winning football games. We went in after halftime with a backup quarterback, barely made it past the 50, won a game they were favored in with our quarterback with like ribs sticking out of his freaking skin, and they're storming the field. And then Bob Stoops said, "That's the best. Of course they're number 2 in the nation. Look at that." And it's like that was what made me so mad about that was the fact that Iowa won and they did what they did, because I knew they would do that because they don't know because they wouldn't know a winning program like at all. So that really ticked me off. But that's just one example of like starting off big. And then I think the difference, man, like for this year is the fact that we had that road win against USC, because I don't care. That's a tough win. It's USC. I don't care what the record says. Like, that's not a bad team. They have Lincoln Riley as their coach, which the guy has multiple Heismans under his belt. Clearly he's done something right. and then we've got Miller Moss, and their running back was pretty good, and so I think that's the difference. Like previous seasons, we haven't had that type of win, but this year we do. So I do think that this team is different, and this record is different. But I think they're going to be okay on the road against Wisconsin. Then we got Ohio State at home. So I don't know where Jared went, but
I must have lost him. He just flew away.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the difference. I think that's kind of the difference right now. So, Jared, you're back. What the heck?
Can you guys see me now? Like, am I coming through okay?
I think so.
Are you
blurry.
good? Can you see me? I mean, you're still kind of distorted.
I mean, you look like you're behind a fogged window right now.
We can hear you.
Okay, hold on one sec.
But yeah, Brett. So that's just kind of my thoughts right now initially. But
yeah,
that the road win with USC really I think is different. But we definitely have some tests coming up for sure.
Yeah.
Now looking at the top 25 here, what we're looking at.
Which is going to shake up a lot after this weekend, after what's going on right now.
Depending on what happens right now with Texas and Georgia, which I have on in the background, we got Oregon and then also Ohio State, Georgia. No matter who loses, someone's dropping out of that top 5, I would say. Well, yeah, no matter who loses, I think you're dropping out of the top 5 because Georgia they're not that good, and if they beat Texas, then. Man, you really are. You're looking at Oregon, who I still think is not that good. Yeah, and then we got us in Ohio State, man. So,
dude, Georgia might go up 2 scores right now, man. Texas might be in trouble. Yep.
I'm at
Georgia's at
12 right now.
I mean, yeah, I mean Georgia's drive. They're at Texas's 20-yard line, and they're about to
what's your
score
clock
again.
say on the screen?
Is that like 12? Well, it's on instant replay now.
I'm slightly ahead of you. We might be. I'm at 11:43.
No, 11:44. Yeah, we're at the same thing.
All right.
He just missed the pass, but they at least get a field goal. They go up 10-0.
Yeah. So
there you go. He's clear.
Georgia could possibly win.
We need them to win. We want Texas to have a loss. That'd be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be great.
So if okay, so let's just hypothetically talk right now. So Texas loses, I think they're dropping out of the top 5 at least because they lost to a 1-loss team at home, who isn't that good. The only team they lost to has 2 losses now. 2 bad loss. I mean, yeah, 2 bad losses. Alabama shouldn't lose to Tennessee, even though I think Tennessee is better. So you're gonna have Oregon 1. Us 2, Ohio State 3, and then you'll have probably Georgia 4, maybe Miami 4. They had a pretty good win, but it'll be interesting, man. Like freaking Joel Klatt said, it could be 1 and 2 for us going into Ohio State and Penn State. It's going to be very interesting. But Jared,
my thing with Miami is. Every game they win, they're letting the other team score like 40 points, dude. So I don't know if they have a defense or not. Other than their defensive line, I don't know. But yeah, they keep escaping games. I'm not a Miami fan. I despise them.
Nah, they're overrated.
Yeah,
their
good.
Quarterback he's projected to be the first overall pick. I mean, that just goes to show you how little those guys. He is, but he's not first overall pick good. I don't think.
No, but it's either him or Shedeur Sanders, and he's okay.
He's not even that good either. Yeah. All right, so Jared, what do you think about the season so far? Just overall, I think the USC game kind of changed your mindset a little bit.
I mean, ultimately, what we got going on is Penn State is doing Penn State things. They are defensively one of the best teams in the entire Big Ten, in the entire NCAA. It's definitely important for them to always maintain that identity. But when it comes to the offense, and what we think can happen. It's inconsistent. It's very much all over the place. I very much appreciate guys like Drew Aller improving, getting guys like Julius Fleming and Liam Clifford involved, as well as, of course, the emergence of Tyler Warren, a.k.a. the president of Penn State. I mean, I think that's a great nickname for him. He definitely has emerged as the best tight end. Again, I'm not saying all of college football, but certainly in Big Ten play. It's so great to see these guys do what they're doing. But again, we're watching a lot of, quarters get away. And I mean, overall this whole season, you've seen quarters where you're just kind of like, are you just stringing these guys along and then you make your move in the second half? Like, there's just something about the first half that it's like, it's not consistent, and it just makes you very, very nervous. And naturally last week, that was some of the most nerve-wracking and most painful things to watch. Like nothing was working in the first half for Penn State. So I knew that when they were going into the second half, I knew we were getting the ball. I know pretty much everyone was turning their TVs off or just shutting the game down altogether. And I remember thinking, we get the ball back. If we get points, and of course, if we score a touchdown, then I will continue to watch the game. I mean, I was very adamant, like, if we do not score on this drive, I'm shutting this game down. I did not care if they came back in some miraculous way again. But naturally, they did adjust very, very well. And again, it just shows you right now what USC is going through because, again, losing to a team like Maryland, now, again, that was a road game that went to the other side of the country. So it was in Maryland. Any kind of road test, anyone will tell you, it is almost impossible to, like, go from, East Coast Pennsylvania to West Coast USC or Oregon. Oregon is probably the hardest place to play in all of the Western Coast football. Like, everyone talks about how Eugene is basically like Ohio State, Penn State, like, atmosphere. It's insane. Yeah, so we definitely have some of the more important, like, venues to watch, like, the biggest stages. Like, again, Ohio State and Oregon, one of the biggest games of the year. What we're watching right now coming up with Ohio State and Penn State is going to be one of the bigger games of the year. It's definitely important for Penn State to always know that they've got the venue and they've got this great, great defense. I'm always impressed with how this defense is always figuring things out, always adjusting when they need to. I mean, lights out against really USC the entire second half. One touchdown? I was just blown away by what they did in that game against them. You can't ask for more. So do I think they're a top 5 team? Statistically, what we're seeing around the league, the answer is yes. But, I mean, can we say we're a number 1 team with that offense? I mean, Nick Singleton is hurt. That's, the running back game is always going to be Keytron Allen, Nick Singleton. That's always the tangent, the two-headed monster at Penn State. That's what keeps us relevant if Drew Aller's inconsistent. And that has been the case here and there. Some games, he'll throw for 200, 210. And then the games he played miraculous, like he's turned it on 300, 350 plus. I mean, it's great to see that he is finally showing us those kinds of games and those types of results. So we have the stuff. We have everything going for us. I mean, I think the only thing we have that you question is maybe things like on the offensive line, just little, like, things like that. Like, can they emerge, like, outside of guys like Tyler Warren? I mean, those names, again, I named them, Julius Fleming and the Liam Clifford. It's so important for them to find an identity. And I'm not mentioning Wallace III. So, I mean, it's just, they have wide receivers. And I'm curious to see what they're going to do against teams like Ohio State and Indiana. Indiana? What is going on right now in that area? I don't even know how to describe what that phenomenon is right now. Indiana is right now kind of becoming like the biggest surprise in all of college football. Dude, they're probably going to be 12th or 13th after this week. 7-0 for the first time or second time in their entire school season history. That's unbelievable. So they're doing some pretty interesting things over in Indiana. And I know we played them this year, so it's all of a sudden going to be like a huge stretch coming down at the end of the season. So what I expect from the second half is good, smart play calling. Like again, once you win a game like that with USC, the most important thing you cannot do is backpedal. You cannot have an inconsistent second game or the next game. Like if we go up to Wisconsin, and again, Wisconsin always likes to be loud, always likes to be in our heads. What is that?
I think Georgia got another interception.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Oh my God.
Jared, go ahead.
Yeah, it's all good. No, listen, this is all part of it, dude. We're trying our darndest to get to the highest platform, the number 1 seed. I mean, could we be that? That's all. Again, it all factors. Like everyone is really showing some inconsistencies. I mean, what is it? A team like Notre Dame? What are they? 1 loss? Like all of a sudden they could be. All of a sudden they could be entering in the conversation of top 5 teams too. Like it's things like that, like all over the place between. What is it? I mean, Tennessee's going to get in the top 10 now. And again, Miami will stay around where they are.
USC's cooked. Alabama's cooked. Yeah. Michigan's done.
Yeah.
Like they're done.
Yeah. Oh, dude, there's long gone.
Michigan should not have been ranked this week at all. So now Illinois gets a ranked win against Michigan, which is fine because we beat Illinois. So that's all fine and dandy. But Michigan should not have been ranked. And real quick, Jared, we don't play Indiana.
Tennessee, I don't know if Tennessee won't be top. They'll be top 10, yeah, but
because they beat a number 7. But yeah, we don't play Indiana, Jared. Which listen, I'm happy about. For right now, we don't play them in the regular season. I would not want to play Indiana right now, dude. I would not.
I thought we played at the end of the year.
I mean, I just want to say this about Indiana real quick.
Purdue, Minnesota, and Indiana, or Purdue, Minnesota, and Maryland, other than Wisconsin and Ohio State.
I mean, I just want to say this real quick. Like Indiana, it's cool that they're undefeated and they won today. They're 7-0, and of course the broadcast was going all over them and everything. And they're interviewing the coach at the end of the game. I don't care who the coach is. I don't care who they have playing for him. It's Indiana, and I don't think anybody's forgot that. I think we would beat them? I think a lot of teams would beat them. It's Indiana, man. I'm not giving them.
Dude, have you seen their receiver? Their receiving core is actually very good, better than our receiving core. So I don't know.
I think they can definitely make a run, but it's Indiana, man. That coach.
Yeah, it's a wait and see game. Yeah, I don't know, but
he's a little corny, but.
Well, yeah, he's very cocky and kind of corny. He said, "I win, Google me," but
he's like Dion, but he's not Dion. He's like Dion last year. He's a
poser,
constantly talking them up, and it's like Dion, you're at Colorado.
Oh boy,
they didn't win a game last year, but
17-0.
Yeah, so holy crap, 17-0.
17.
All right, so you know what's crazy, man? Like I said, Tennessee or Texas isn't. I've said Texas isn't that good. I think they're better with Arch Manning and Steve Sarkisian. I can't.
Yeah, they might be. They might be better with Arch Manning for some reason.
Dude, I could tell you some stories. I'm not going to. I'll tell you off air, but I can tell you some stories about Steve Sarkisian and what he was like when he was at USC, because I knew some people that were at USC when he was there, and it's nothing good, man. Like he's I do not like him at all. That's all I'm gonna say. But but Texas, like
they're getting bullied.
There we go. Number 1 team in the country, Texas. All right, like good job.
There's been a lot of turnovers. This year's just crazy. Can we just say it? College football this year is absolutely insane. It's the best year we've ever seen so far. About just the parity. No, really, it's the best year we've seen.
Yeah,
and
it's not. It's not quite 2007, but it's up there. Jared, like when you say we're one of the best teams, we're one of the most talented teams in the country for sure. Now I would include the whole team being the coaching staff, and that doesn't always correlate with our players, I don't think. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, it was my final thought. Like, so what I thought was the Minnesota. That's what I thought Indiana was. I thought that was what the schedule was.
Okay.
So we play Minnesota, not Indiana.
Which is better.
Yeah,
Which is better for us.
That's another like tough game. We have a tough schedule going forward. I mean, no doubt.
Yeah.
I don't care who it is. Like even Purdue, I wouldn't put anything past them either. So
is that at Purdue?
Yeah. They put up 49 against Illinois for no reason, so I don't know. And then didn't put up a single point against Oregon, so I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. And
I mean, so yeah.
I'm telling you, man. Like I'm telling you, Penn State. I think they're the best team in America in terms of their talent and their potential. I mean, we're seeing it play out. Texas clearly overrated. If they lose this game, they're down by 17 zip right now. I mean. It's just like it's almost like it's Brett. It's almost like I know what I'm talking about. It's kind of crazy, but
the most wild thing about this game, though, too, Mark, is Georgia threw 2 interceptions. Texas, I think, fumbled twice. Texas hasn't even thrown an interception. They fumbled it twice. So 4 turnovers in the first quarter, and it's the only one team has points off it. That's bad. That means you did not capitalize.
5 versus number 1.
I'll say this too about Texas. I think Arch Manning should be the starter because he's really good. And I would be scared of Texas if he was the starter. I'll just say that.
They've looked very consistent with him in there.
Yeah, that's true. And Quinn Ewers he's injury prone. He's been injured so many times. He shouldn't even be playing right now. He was rusty last week.
I want to pull up a comment. I want to pull up a comment real quick. That's Brett yelling. So this guy said, and I want to put this guy on blast. I'm going to play this a little bit so it's not Brett just sitting there. Penn State is living off the past. Y'all can't win an Natty. You will never see one in your lifetime. LSU fan here, 34 years old, scene 3. And he's got a pic. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, but he's got a picture of like a 12-year-old girl as his profile picture. So that's weird.
Listen, Mark Twain, Z6Y, whatever that is. Your team lost to USC and we beat them, so you should probably just calm down.
And on top of that, you saw 3 national titles. That's good for you. What position did you play? Is what I want to know.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's talking about. I just wanted to put him on blast because I think that's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, but, I mean, they lost to USC and USC's 3-4 now.
And then he said, "You will never see one in your lifetime." LSU fan here. Like, does that make you better or more knowledgeable or what? Like, 3 national titles. So that would make him like 13 when they won the first one with Les Miles. And then they won one. They won 3. They won one in 07, 03, and when else did they win one? Oh, 2019.
2019, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But
good for you, Mark Twain, Z6Y.
Yeah.
We don't actually care, but thank you.
Yeah, they're not even remotely as consistent as Penn State. So just
sleep great tonight. Hopefully, anyways.
Yeah, I mean they're winning 16-7 against Arkansas.
I just have a couple questions for that guy. One, why is there a 12-year-old girl as your profile picture? It makes me really question you. Your name is Mark Twain, and I don't know if you're a guy, a grown man, a little girl, a guy, a grown woman. I really don't know. So yeah, that's just, it helps the algorithm. Now, if I was some people that comment on our stuff, I just wouldn't comment at all because then your stupidity is public. But hey man, people are gonna do what they're gonna do. So, but yeah, do you guys have any rebuttal to that whole comment, Brett? You already kind of gave your.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, his team lost to USC and we beat them. So what does that make? That makes us better than LSU. I mean,
do you think we're ever going to win a Natty in our lifetime?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
we're all pretty much the same age within a couple years. So yeah, I think we will too.
Within the next 10 years, we'll win one. We could win one this year. We could win one next year. We could win one. The recruiting we've been doing, it's going to happen. Well, and the staff we have now is stronger than it's been before.
So. Right.
I think if we ever have a question about Penn State, we should ask Mark Twain and see what he has to say. But Jared, do you have anything else to add on to what you were saying?
No, I mean, so in the end, what you have all these top 10 teams. I mean, LSU is a top 10 team. They're ranked 8th. They are currently being 16. Arkansas 16-7 at the half. So I mean, and this in Arkansas. I mean, it's a good team. They lost to USC, yeah. And the USC loss was 27-20. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, they got completely smashed and hammered in at home, but it's just that was the case for them. So I feel like that is going to shake a lot of things up. I mean, Georgia seems like this is pretty much a done deal. Again, we saw Alabama go up against them. What was that? Half of time for them, like against Alabama and Georgia. They were like, Alabama was completely up on them and they almost lost that game, but they just squeaked that win out Alabama. So it was like that dropped Georgia and they went up. And now it's like, LSU could very well be one of the better teams. They lost, and then now they've crawled back up to being in the top 10 again. I mean, I think we're looking at right now the Big Ten, Ohio State, Oregon, and us, Penn State. I think that right there just is what it is. Like, we are right now, the Big Ten have the best 3 teams in the country overall, picture-wise. Like, they have the talent, they get the recruits, the coaching's all there. If we're talking coaching, as of right now, I would have to give that to Oregon, number 1. I mean, it's close because Ryan Day can't win big games. James Franklin cannot win big games. I mean, this last week was one of the more needed accolades in his entire resume. So
it's one of his best wins, and it's not on the larger scale. It's not that impressive, but it's still impressive. That's one of his bigger wins. Yeah.
The way we won the game was impressive. That's what the coaching that they did. The play calling was phenomenal. Just outstanding game. Probably one of the best coach games I've seen James Franklin call.
And it answered my question of, can we score points when we need to? And we did. Will it come back to bite us when it counts? I don't know yet. Like against a good team like Ohio State in the playoff, possibly. Oregon, like going off what you just said, Jared, I think they would pass it all over us. I don't know if they would beat us, but I think they would pass it all over us. But I don't think they're better than us. But yeah, you think Oregon's number 1?
I mean, as of right now, I think is Ohio State 2 or 3?
No,
they're 4. They're 4.
Ohio State's
they're 4. Okay, they're 4. Okay, so by this definition. Yeah, Oregon would be number 1 to me. We'd be number 2. Ohio State would be number 3.
And right now, what we're looking at for like the SEC title game, for example, because they're going to be top 4 probably no matter what. Whoever wins the SEC title, we're looking at Georgia and Tennessee in the SEC title, and then you're looking at Oregon, us, and Ohio State in the Big Ten. Pretty much.
The thing with the SEC right now is we're watching them decapitate each other every week, dude. It's just been like. And if anybody in that conference could win, like Vanderbilt won, like Arkansas beat Tennessee, like anybody can win any week, and that's not really. You can't say the same for the Big Ten. You got Oregon, Ohio State, and Penn State that it doesn't look like they're going to lose just any week. But any team in the SEC, you don't have faith that they're going to pull it through because I don't know what's going on. The Kool-Aid they're drinking down there and down south, and I don't know what's going on. But maybe they should stick to water and hydrate themselves.
Yeah,
I don't.
I just want to say this too about the SEC that that conference is absolutely insane. I mean, you talk about, and they've always done this, man. Like at the end of the year, you're 15-0. They play like that 2 extra games every single year in the SEC because they're always good. They're always in the hunt. And the SEC is totally different. Now, is it what it used to be? Probably not quite, but, the Big Ten, man, like.
There's no juggernaut now. That's the thing. There's no juggernaut.
No, regardless, I think the Big Ten can hang with the SEC now, especially now that we got these new teams. I mean, the conference is just going to be that much better, but with the SEC and what they're doing to each other, man, it's like pretty crazy because that conference is just, you can't lose to Vanderbilt, man. You can lose to Tennessee, but you can't lose to Vanderbilt. Like, come on. And then Texas, like you have to beat Georgia at home. Like that's inexcusable. There's no excuse for that.
Well, I mean, you can at least hang with them. I mean, I think that's the thing. We're kind of really surprised by the fact that Texas looks like completely, inept.
Yeah,
right now against them, they look so mediocre.
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't think, and they're about to go up 24-0 probably.
Jeez.
Georgia's going to kill them. Like they're done. I think Texas is done.
They're actually they're planning their funeral right now. Is what they're getting. They're calling people up. They're saying, "Hey, Georgia's funeral's tonight at 10 p.m. Can you all come?" Like that's what's happening right
now. Let me look at Texas's schedule. All right, so Texas they got Georgia, and then going forward, it's fairly easy. They got A&M at the end of the year, but then let's look at Tennessee. Tennessee's got Kentucky. So they're at Georgia. All right, so if Georgia wins tonight and they win out to Tennessee and Tennessee beats them, which I think they will, you're still looking at probably a Tennessee and a Texas SEC title game, even though Texas may lose tonight. So it's really interesting, man. Like Georgia, I think they're going to lose to Tennessee. Alabama, they're done. So you're really looking at maybe, Georgia or Alabama kind of fighting for like a final spot in the playoff. But
Tennessee will lose again before the championship. Their schedule's pretty. I don't know if they can beat Georgia. If Georgia looks like this, I don't know. I don't think Tennessee's very good. I think they'll lose again.
I think unless they really get after Nico, man, I don't see Tennessee losing to Georgia. But who knows? I mean,
have you seen Nico's stat lines recently? They're not good. I mean, he does not look good.
No.
He looked good against high school teams, but not against college teams.
Is he a true freshman, Nico?
He's a redshirt freshman, so he's still young. But against, like I said, the high school teams he played earlier in the year, like the pathetic schedule they had, he looked good against Utah State or whoever they played, but he does not look good against regular competition.
194 today.
Yeah, it's not good.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure he is a true freshman.
No, he played last year. A little bit.
Did he?
He redshirted or played. Yeah, he probably redshirted.
But as of right now, I mean, I know we have to throw this kind of in the conversation. I know this is not going to sit well with you guys, but we have to play devil's advocate right now with the top five. If Georgia wins tonight, and it looks like it's a guarantee, because we were on a bye, and USC once again lost, which makes the win against them not look really that attractive.
I'm not happy
Georgia
about
could jump us. Georgia, for now, I'm just saying Georgia could jump us in the standings because we were on a bye.
They're for sure jumping Ohio State because Ohio State has a lot because they have a loss already, and then Georgia, if they beat the number one team.
That's the thing. They beat the number one team. We were on a bye. Now USC's looking like an okay win as opposed to a better win. So it's like, I'm just saying, it all seems like it would be perfect for them to just jump us for all those reasons. Like, that's the thing. I understand that Penn State has not right now looked the most consistent all season. Again, I think what's really always going to be looking back is the fact that we struggled against Bowling Green. That was really the game I'm always going to have in my head where it's like the whole season, it's like, okay, we had some good wins. We had, the consistency, like we demolished one game or two, but it's like when you look back on the whole season, when you see how they played in the first half and pretty much a little bit of the second half against Bowling Green, it was just like, how can you look like that against the FCS team? I mean, that's just not acceptable. There's no way you can do that. I mean, everyone's going to constantly look at your season when it comes to how tight they have to look at all the teams in the top five. And I know that struggle against Bowling Green, it's like, why? Why was that ever an issue? So I can see why Penn State would have that going against them. But again, like you said, everything else, they have been one of the better teams in the entire country for sure. But again, I can understand why some voters may not be like so reluctant and, quick to be like, oh, yeah, Penn State's easily in the top three. So it's like right now, Georgia, if they hold on and they don't lose for the rest of the season, I don't know. We could very well be seeing maybe third or fourth.
This is what's going to happen. If they jump us, it's going to go Oregon 1, Georgia 2, Penn State 3, Ohio State 4. That's what'll happen. Which I won't really be concerned about it because this will all work itself out. Like we just said, the SEC is decapitating each other. Every team in SEC, the top teams are gonna have 2 or 3 losses by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Nobody's
so
mortal.
do you think LSU would jump Texas?
Oh my God, they scored again.
Yeah, dude. If Georgia wins, like they're gonna be 2.
20-0.
Oregon will be 2. We'll be 3. Oregon will be 1. Georgia 2. Penn State 3. Ohio State 4. Miami. But that's the thing, man. Like
that's the thing. Is it LSU Miami, 5 or 6?
LSU, they're 8.
No, I'm saying, but if they win tonight and Texas loses, do they jump Texas or does Texas stay above them?
That's a hard call. It's hard to say.
Because again, they're a one-loss team. They're both one-loss teams after that.
Texas isn't dropping that far. Texas.
Okay.
It's gonna, if Georgia smokes Texas tonight,
7.
Yeah, Arch Manning's in the game, dude.
It's about time. You should have started the guy.
Why did they pull him?
Well, Quinn Ewers was getting killed. He's terrible.
All right. Well, now they do have a possibility of winning the game now with Arch Manning in.
Down 20-0. Dude, Georgia's pushing Texas's offensive line around like children, dude. It's bad. No, it's bad. Yeah. They're getting pummeled.
But
But the SEC defense, dude, SEC's defenses are always the best thing. Big 12, I mean, now they're in the SEC, Texas, but I'm saying when they were in the Big 12, it was always offense. It was always 80-yard bombs, like wide receivers galore. Like it was always big offensive plays in the Big 12. Now you're in the SEC, dude. The defenses are, if not the best, the second best in the country after the Big 10. Anyone goes into those conferences, they know what they're doing defensively. That's what we're famous for. So now Texas is really getting a taste of what defenses are supposed to be playing like.
Texas is 0 for 6 on third down, and they're 0 for 7 now.
Right.
Oh, boy.
So they got a flag there.
Yeah, it might be a hole.
But, so Texas has a shot at winning now with Arch Manning in the game for sure. But, yeah, you're looking at like Oregon, Georgia, Penn State, probably Miami, Ohio State. I think Miami could jump Ohio State. Then LSU is going to be up there if they win. Huh?
They're undefeated, Ohio State. I mean, Miami is too. Miami's too. You're right. Never mind.
Oregon.
Oh, yeah, then Miami should jump them then. That's the case.
Miami hasn't beat anybody with a pulse more than 2-3 points every game or more than a touchdown. So I don't know. We'll see.
You're also going to have – so you got Clemson.
Clemson's climbing, dude. I mean, they gave up 31.
Yeah, that's true. I did not even mention Clemson. That is right.
They're climbing, dude. Their offense looks really good now.
Iowa State, like, they're freaking number 9. Like, that's crazy. They're playing against – where does Trent Dilfer coach at? Trent Dilfer's at what, like Southern Florida or something?
I have no idea.
And then Iowa State could lose. They're tied right now with UCF. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting right now what could happen.
It's a wild year, man.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, but I think we should hop off soon just so we can watch this Texas game. But, yeah, overall, right now, in terms of what Penn State has done, I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. They have that big win on the road with USC. Aller looks good. One of the shorts that I put up was Drew Aller drops the nuts because he has.
Yeah, he dropped him.
And you know, speaking of 2021, man, like just looking back at how bad the backup played at Iowa and how horrible our run game was, I said it then and I'll say it again. Probably the worst backfield Penn State's ever had was 2021 in terms of who we had playing running back for us and the production that we had. I mean, our run game was horrendous.
Yeah.
So we have running backs now. Our O-line, they're looking pretty good. I mean, we're going to see against like Ohio State, even Wisconsin and other teams. I mean, our schedule's not easy. How they hold up because we really need to get our run game going, man. Like I
think our offensive line being banged up, like I was talking about, like we've been just like rotating guys, because like I said, we've been injured like the last couple weeks. I think that's why the last 2 weeks we haven't looked great run blocking because there's so many bodies getting thrown in there, the chemistry and everything. So once everybody gets back and healthy, like Sal Wormley, JB Nelson's been hurt, and he bulldozes people too. So like a lot of our guys have been hurt, and then even Anthony Donko, dude, he's been hurt playing with injuries too.
Man. We got Nolan Roots and Drew Shelton kind of backing each other up there. We got Javen, we got Cooper Cousins, we got Birchmeyer, and then we got that freshman coming in, that 5-star guy that like did the Michael Orr treatment to that one guy. But it's because this is what Ohio State's going to do. First of all, they're going to take advantage of our 4-2-5. They're going to love that. I'm not saying they're going to be able to do much with it because Will Howard is, he's not. Yeah, but our off, huh?
He's Will Howard. Yes, I mean, Will Howard.
Yeah, but what they're going to do to our offense is they're going to take away the run game. They're going to try to totally take away the run game, put the ball in Drew Aller's hands, and say, "Hey, Drew, either you got it or you don't, because we're going to bring you our best." And I think that's what it's going to come down to. Now, I'm not saying we can't run, but I'm saying that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to take away the run game, put it in Drew Aller's hands. That's what they did last year. I knew they would do that. That's it. And at Michigan, they just did what was working. They just ran the ball. We couldn't stop it at all. I mean, it was impossible to stop that run game last year for some reason. But
and my thing is, if Ohio State wants to if people want to try to take away Tyler Warren, go ahead and try for one, because you can't double team a guy. That means that you're getting another guy open. So go ahead, try to take Tyler Warren out of the game. You're opening Drew up for Julian Fleming and Harrison Wallace III and Amari Evans, Liam Clifford. They'll take it over your head too. It doesn't matter who it is. But the way that Drew is commanding the offense now after last game, dude, he is fierce about it. He was not like that last year. Like you said, he dropped them. He's ready to go, and I'm here for it, man. He's going to be commanding it.
That's why we have like a Julian Fleming and a Trey Wallace and guys like that at the wideout position, because like on those 4th down conversions, guarantee you they were looking at Tyler Warren, and then he throws it to Julian Fleming, who literally dropped the ball like right before those 2 clutch catches, and hadn't done much all year. So when you're double triple teaming a Tyler Warren, that does open, like you said, our other guys. We have pretty good receivers. We have a Liam Clifford who can catch the ball, and then Julian Fleming, a 5-star guy, he can catch the ball clearly when it's.
Did you see? Sorry, I've been over. Did you guys see the routes Harrison Wallace dude last week? For one, that one slant route, he completely destroyed the guy. And then on the left side, he was the outside receiver. I think it was the third quarter. Drew threw that nice pass to him. He went up and caught it and got hit. Before he got open, he threw the guy down. You guys, he threw his defender down, got open. Like, he's physical with it. Like, Trey Wallace is his coming out party's coming. Like, he's been consistent, but he's about to really show up. And Julian Fleming, the confidence he had with those 4th down catches, I think he's going to be a new improved player moving forward.
Yeah, so absolutely, man. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities of what we can do, but yeah, overall, I'm pleased, and I feel good about Wisconsin. I do feel good against Ohio State. I mean, I really do think, like, we should have beat Ohio State last year.
Yeah.
Drew wasn't totally ready, and Yursich was horrible, and they did not mesh well at all.
And we got screwed on that one call, that defensive Curtis Jacobs run back. We got screwed on that. Yeah. Completely screwed.
I mean, that's why I said it last year, and I'll say it again. Like, those games, man, against Ohio State especially, you're not going to get any calls your way. You have to win in dominating fashion. If you don't, the refs will take full advantage. Gus Johnson is going to, he's going to have his Ohio State shrine in the booth there with flames and everything and a candle, and he's going to be worshiping the gods of Ohio State, and he'll promise them that he says
they're not gods there.
Penn State and
the other way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even when he was there for UCLA, he's like, I like Penn State games because there's no service here. It's like, yeah, man, like all these 100,000 people in the stadium, none of us have service. We have payphones outside. We use smoke signals. We have Gordon Gecko phones just in case we need them. We all use sign language. Like, none of us, our phones don't work in State College. Like,
I use a sundial myself, but
one of the biggest colleges in the country, we don't have cell service here. So you're right. That is a good place to watch football because you can't.
Yep. I brought my pager with me, Gus. I still have a pager from 1987.
Yeah, we learn about the news. I mean, if you don't have cell phone service, your TVs don't work either. So we learn about the news through the newspaper now. They don't deliver it. You have to go and buy it at the store. So that's just how we live here.
They have a morning edition and an evening edition. Did you know that?
Yep. Walter Cronkite. We play live Walter Cronkite updates every evening on the radio. Since we have waves, we have hardwired radio waves here, so we at least have that. But dude, just think about how dumb that is that he said that.
Yeah, you need a whole segment on that.
I know State College is like it's the middle of Pennsylvania. It is the middle of nowhere, but it's a small city, man. It's not that like it's not we're not in West Virginia. It's like
but I think that's a really cool thing though. Think of all the other states, in the entire country. How many of them have things in the middle of their states? Like, look how we are mapped out. Like, it's really neat that is kind of the spectrum where it's like you look at that the entire state where it's like that dot in the middle. That's us. Like everything comes into the middle. Like it's pretty cool. But to wrap this up for me, it's looking at the second half of the season at Wisconsin, home for Ohio State, home for Washington, at Purdue, at Minnesota, home against Maryland. Now, Purdue and Maryland have records of 1-3 in the conference. Like, they're not good. So, and you look at Wisconsin, 3-1. Ohio State is, of course, 2-1 because of Oregon. And Washington and Minnesota are 2-2. So they have 500 or better. So 4 of our last 6 games are going to be against opponents that are going to challenge them in every which way. And I cannot wait to see what the response will be because that stretch at Ohio State, home against Ohio State, and home against Washington, you go 3-0 against that schedule, but there's no denying they are the best team in the country. You can't do that in any other conference. Yep. That right there will be the test. If you can get through that, now again, I'm not taking Purdue lightly, I'm not taking Minnesota lightly, and I'm not taking Maryland lightly, but I'm saying you get through that gauntlet, then you should basically know how to get through the other 3 too. So I'm just saying, that's right there the thing. I mean, Wisconsin you can beat. Ohio State at home you can beat. Yep. At Ohio State, that would be a different story. But home against Ohio State, that's a shot. But that's the thing. My eyes are on that Washington game. That's such a huge moment right there. Again, it's one thing because, again, if you're coming off Ohio State and you win, Washington will be looking for every which way to ruin your season. It would basically be like an Iowa game. Any team that just comes out of nowhere and you fight hard and everything should go your way and it doesn't, or something like they have the ball at the end and they get the last score and it's like, I've watched it many times. So this second half is really going to come down to these next 3 weeks.
Yeah, our schedule's not easy. I agree with you. If Penn State goes undefeated with this schedule, man, they're easily the number 1 team in the country. And they deserve it.
Question.
Deservedly so in the playoff. They'll get the 1 seed. But here's the thing, knock on wood, they do go undefeated. But, at the end of the day, man, Washington's not easy. Like, our schedule is not easy whatsoever going forward. But they, still they've been tested, but not totally tested like they will be against Ohio State. But another thing too is if they do lose to Ohio State, speaking of calls not going our way against Ohio State, the playoff committee will not give us a favorable seed either. They may not even give us a home playoff game because that's just the way it is. Penn State's not going to get respect until they earn it. They're not going to get the top recruits.
They might for views, actually. The home playoff game in Beaver Stadium, they might do it simply for views.
Yeah,
so that's
I don't know if it would be a whiteout or not, but
that'd be insane.
Yeah, like they're not going to get that respect until they actually beat the teams that they need to beat. That they're not supposed to beat, but they can.
I don't know if they've ever tried this.
Huh?
I'm sorry, not to interrupt you, but I don't know how this would look. I know it would kind of look a little hued, a little like distorted, maybe, and kind of overshot. If they make the playoffs, could they try to do a blue out?
No, that would.
I'm just curious. I'm just throwing out ideas. I'm just seeing what sticks.
They should have
I don't
a
know if
big.
they would do it.
They should have a big Blues Clues cutout dog in the middle too. Nah, I don't know, man. I don't think that would look right. I mean,
I'm just saying, like we've had whiteouts, we've had stripe outs. I'm just saying.
I think
we've never tried that.
To be honest with you, I think a blackout would be cool too.
Yeah, but for the Ohio State game, it's the helmet stripe, so it's one blue line. On the other side, somewhere, they should do OS poo. OS and then poo. They're not going to do that, obviously, but it'd be funny.
But, well, we're all going to have to watch the game on VHS tapes because we don't have service here. And I'm going to watch my Johnny Carson rerun tonight from 1975 when he
Transistor radio, man. I mean, get it going. You'll find it. I bet you will.
Look. Sometimes I watch Johnny Carson at night, and I'm like, man, he really needs to update his couch. Like it's like that 70s look. But
man, that 110-year-old dinosaur.
Yeah. I'm like, why is he interviewing Arnold Schwarzenegger? Arnold Schwarzenegger's like 74 years old now, but hey.
That's a baby to him.
One last take.
I'll give you $100 if you can name me people from the 1940s and 50s that Johnny Carson would interview. I would.
Do you know who I was impressed with last week? I don't know if you guys saw, but I mean, yeah, he had that one defensive pass interference, but Zion Tracy, I think he's emerging a little bit, dude. He looked good. He had a couple pass breakups. Somebody who got burnt in the bowl game last year as a true freshman. I think he's really gaining some momentum here, and I expect to see Zion Tracy more. And I just want to give him a little shout out because I thought he played a really good game against USC, and the best I've seen him look so far.
We got
Tyler Warren.
King Mack gave up a touchdown tonight for Alabama.
Did he?
Yeah, but we got it's Tyler Warren and Wheatley. Is it Key Wheatley?
No, Jalen Reed was second team All-American midseason, which is pretty cool. And then Tyler Warren, obviously, first team, because who are you going to put in front of him?
Yeah, you're right about Zion Tracy, too. These are guys that we've covered on this podcast when they were recruits.
Yep.
That's who we got right now. But
from New York, too. Zion Tracy from New York. Not a lot of football out in New York. That's good, but when you find a couple diamonds in the rough out there, man, let's do it.
Yeah, dude. Do they even have football fields in New York? I mean, it's.
Well, we got next year, 2025, Lyric Samuel, the receiver. He's a really good receiver out in New York. There's diamonds in the rough out there, but the football in general in New York, high school football is not really a good thing. Like it's not competitive like Pennsylvania, but there's good players out of there. And Zion Tracy is, like I say, he's coming into his own right now, and I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. Now, Brett, I know you get your recruiting updates through Morse code taps since
there's a lot
of cell service here, and you even use Stone Scroll sometimes, which kind of explains.
I actually fly to myself. I had to use all my savings and fly myself to get recruiting updates because my phone does not work. I can't.
Yeah.
Didn't you go through Campbell? I thought you did a Campbell. You go.
He just follows Franklin's private jet, but yeah, it's like this. By the way, the Super Bowl, they use Roman numerals. Like, is Julius Caesar down at the game or what? Like, I don't get it. But yeah, Brett, what do your carrier pigeons say about recruiting right now?
So we're trying to flip some guys. I mean, we just got Josh Johnson. Listen to this. Josh Johnson out of Ohio. We recruit Ohio really well. Right now, he's only a 3-star, but he's a diamond in the rough, let me tell you. He's 6'2", long arms. He could be a cornerback or a safety, so he's got good length. You know how Dex will take a long safety or Terry Smith will take him. Either way, he was committed to Louisville, decommitted, and came back to us because we thought we were going to get him a few months ago. Just got Josh Johnson. We had Lex Cyrus, Remember the receiver that committed to South Carolina from our backyard? We had him on campus for the UCLA game, so watch for him. We might flip Lex Cyrus. We also have Brandon Finney on. Brandon Finney's from Maryland. He's a safety. He committed to Oregon out of nowhere a few months ago. We think it was NIL related because he told Penn State he was going to come to Penn State. A few days later, he committed to Oregon. We were like, what? So watch for Brandon Finney. We could possibly flip him. He's a top 100 player in the country coming out of high school, so we need to get him. There's a couple other players. We had
Dylan's page.
You know how we got 2 California recruits coming up next year and the following year? We got 2 California guys coming, a quarterback, Troy Hoon, and the cornerback, Darius Dixon. Well, guess what? We just had a visit from a receiver in California against UCLA. Madden Williams is his name, I believe. He just came the whole way from Cali to see us beat a California team. So that's pretty cool. Recruiting's on another level right now. We're getting people on campus. I expect a lot of movement to be happening here in a couple weeks. So be on the lookout.
What's our ranking, Brett?
For 2025?
Yeah, what's our ranking right now? Do you know?
Recruiting 2025 ranking for the class that we have 25 commits right now, so it's getting pretty full. In the industry, we're like 14th right now. So, Antonio Branch, he ended up going to Colorado, the guy you just looked at. But we're 14th, which is fine. You realize like 7 to 14, you're literally splitting hairs at that point. The only way you can get in the top 5 is if you have a 5-star or 2, and not all 5 stars work out. So. I trust James Franklin and the recruiting staff because they know how to recruit, and we have very talented individuals every year. So I trust their evaluations. They get diamonds in the rough every year. Look at Drew Aller. He was a 3-star when they offered him, and then he ended up being a 5-star by the end of it. Ethan Grunkmeyer, 3-star, ended up being a high 4-star at the end of it. So I trust their evaluations, and 2026, we could be top 5. The 2026 recruiting class, we have 6 commits already. And we're in the top 3 right now. Out of 6 commits.
But that's also why I think that Washington's game might be the most important one if we beat Ohio State, because that's going to be the whiteout game, right? That's the representative for the what? Could you imagine if we beat Ohio State and the whiteout is occurring? How many of these recruits you're talking about will be flocking to this particular game? Because again, they just saw them beat Ohio State, like hypothetically, and they're going to go into that game like. That right there just screams everything that's going to go our way if it happens for the next 2-3 years in terms of recruits. They're going to want to come here. They're going to want to be a part of that.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Like, Brett, what's the lineman's name that we have? The dude that was like literally, he's pushing that guy downfield. What's his name?
Wait, who's on the team now, or?
No, he's a recruit. I think he's 2025.
Are you talking about Kevin Brown, 2026 offensive lineman? He's
Kevin Brown, yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Listen, Jared, this dude Kevin Brown for 2026, he's an offensive tackle. He's probably going to be a 5-star by the end of it. There's a video of him. He's 16 years old. There's a video of him jumping out of the shallow end onto the deck, onto the concrete. He jumped out of the pole, being in the pole, onto the just think about that. What?
Wait, say that one more time. Say that one more time.
He's standing in the shallow end, in the pole. There's a video of him jumping out of the freaking pole onto the concrete, man. Do you know how strong your legs have to be to do something like that? To force your body out of water? It's insane, dude. The dude's like a freak athlete. He's out of Harrisburg. He went to the same high school as Micah Parsons.
Holy crap, I'm seeing images of this dude. Jeez.
Brown is a giant. He's 16 years old, man. Yeah.
That's a 16-year-old guy right there. That's that picture, I'm looking. This guy right here that I'm taking a picture. Oh, dang it.
Kevin Brown.
We don't have any 5-stars yet. But
Kevin Brown on 3. He's 6'5", 260, and he's 16 years old. He's 27th in the nation ranked right now.
Kevin Brown's our he's our number 1 recruit from the 2026 class. But I'm going to try to pull up that video.
He's insane, man. Yeah, try to pull that up. He's got slick back hair. Jared, just type in Kevin Brown on 3, because then you'll know it's a football player. Yeah.
This guy right here that's him.
It's glowy, but that's got to be him. Yeah. Look at him, dude. He's 16 years old. Look at him.
He's 16.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He's 2026. He'll be on our team. So it's 2024 right now, man.
I'm just saying. I mean, I'm 37 years old. That guy makes me a little self-conscious. Jeez,
dude, he's
bump
not
into
even
him in the high school hallway.
Dude, he's 6'5", 260 already from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. He's 27th in the nation. He's top 20. Yeah.
I'm trying to find
number 1 out of PA, number 3 O-line right now. That's the type of guys that we're getting, dude. Yeah, that's the type of guys that we're getting right now.
I'm trying to find the swimming.
Could have went anywhere.
But I don't see it.
I don't know where that was posted. It must have been Instagram, but
yeah, I don't see it. But yeah, he's a freak. He is a freak.
Wow.
Let me look on YouTube. It's got to be on there.
I mean, you look at the guy. He just looks freaking massive, man. Like it's unbelievable.
Dude, he's solid, man. Like,
all right, so
say what I'm looking for.
Masai Mickens for 2026, Troy Hun, Daniel Jennings. I mean, we're bringing guys in. A lot of these guys, even 2025, some of these guys are going to move up to 5-star guys.
Yep, Jared, that's the top 6 quarterback in the country out of California, Troy Hoon.
Jaden Woods, he's probably going to be a 5-star guy. Malachi Goodman, he's another one. Darius Dixon, Darius Dixon, he's the one from Modern Day,
California. Yep, we're getting them.
Dude, LeVar Arrington's son just looks like, look at that. Dude.
Well, he just went up in the rankings, guys. LeVar Arrington's son was a 3-star until a couple days ago. Now he's a 4-star.
Dude, he's scary looking, man. Look at that.
Yep.
He looks like his dad. He's that's a football player right there, man.
Yeah.
The most underrated guy in our class coming up, Matthew Otten, the flip from Virginia Tech. Yeah. Matthew Otten is a.
And then we got Cam Smith. He's another 4-star. He's another 4-star guy. You got Jameer Joseph. You got Jeff Exenor. I mean, tons of 4-star guys. Jay Sean Burnett. But here's the thing, man. Like I've said in the past, like when you start beating Ohio State, the teams that you're supposed to beat, when you start beating these guys, not only do you get recruits, you get more respect. You're going to get respect at playoff because at the end of the day, man, like the way they rank us is they are ranking us historically. They really are. They rank us like we never beat Ohio State. Therefore, we're not going to get like these 5-star receivers year in, year out like Ohio State does. I mean, we could really flip the script on these recruits if we start beating Ohio State. And then, I mean, that's why I've said it about the playoff for years and years and years and years. Well, 3 years that I've done this show, but I've said it like outside of this show too. When you start getting into the playoff, like the top 4, like we should have in the past, recruits see that. I mean, it's something as simple as getting more airtime. If you make the top 4 now, especially, man, like that, recruits see that. And that's why making the playoff is so important. And that's why it's so devastating when we don't make it, because when you're in the playoff, you're in that top 4. There are some players who are like, man, they're always in the top 4. Like, I want to play there. You know what I mean? It's that exposure that you get. You get that exposure, and that's very important. So, overall, man, we're going on an hour and 15 minutes right now. But, yeah. So, we'll be back Thursday for the Wisconsin pregame. We'll be back on Saturday. And at Ohio State, I'm trying to do a big episode for that, trying to have like some extra guys on. I mean, we could have like 5-6 people on here for that episode. That'll be because that's a big game. I want to have the guy I mentioned earlier, the O coordinator, because he really knows football. He's someone that I'd like to have on here more often because I've said it. You know, I'm not an X's and O's guy. Brett's definitely way more X's and O's than me. So is Jared. Matt from Penn State jerseys. He's a good X's and O's guy. Greg Garrity, obviously. I mean, he actually played football for Penn State, so he's obviously an X's and O's guy.
I have Greg on. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's just not. I mean, I know football, but I'm not an X's and O's guy, man. I know the program. I know.
Yeah, the history of it and all that.
And like really I know football. I just don't like always break down like, oh, they're in 12 personnel, they're in 11 personnel, or this O-line guard pulled here, and that's just not really my thing. Which is why
it's hard to see stuff live. You almost got to watch it back, because I didn't know Tyler Warren snapped the ball on that play until they showed it. Because he hid. He hid so nobody would see him do it. It was a genius play call. Genius.
Yeah. And like Brett's an X's and O's guy, and like this other guy I'm going to have on the O coordinator, he's an X's and O's guy, and we're all going to learn stuff from him. And he told me last night, he said, I've been studying Andy Kotelnicki for years, and
he loves him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of those guys, man, that a lot of people have studied because he is good at what he does. But we'll see if it converts to beating Ohio State. I mean, Chip Kelly, he couldn't pull it out against Oregon. I mean, so we'll see. Bill O'Brien, he had a little bit of a rough time with Alabama. He didn't stay at Ohio State because of his son. His son, I forget what his son has, but
something going on.
Yeah, he's special needs. He has, I forget what he has, but pretty much the reason why he didn't stay at Ohio State was because of his family, and that's totally that's understandable, obviously. And he likes Boston College. He's from that area. He was on Julian Edelman's podcast talking about how he really likes Boston College. And by the way, did Florida State lose again?
Yeah, Florida State lost to Duke last night, and Duke has never beat Florida State ever, so that's funny.
That's why. Manny Ramirez, that's why I was like, I knew that loss because Manny Ramirez and Duke beat him. Yep.
I mean, Manny Diaz's team is scrappy. They're not winning crazy, but they're scrappy. They're 5-6-1 or whatever it is. Got to give it to him. And that's his first year with a program that's not really a football school, and their head coach took a lot of players. Mike Elko took a lot of guys with him, so he's doing a good bit with not much. So, I mean, you got to appreciate it, I wish we had Manny still, but good luck to him.
I'm just going to pull them up real quick.
But I think Tom Allen's going to redeem himself. I think he's going to.
All right. Florida State is 1-6. They are one of the worst top 10 ranked teams of all time starting out the season. Wow. Their only win is 14-9.
The cow. That's a bowling game.
DJ Ua, Young ULA, however you say his name. Like, I remember him from QB1. He beat out, I forget the starter's name. He beat him out as a sophomore. And you saw it play on the show. But he's supposed to be this great recruit. He was in the same class as CJ Stroud, I think.
Yep. And he got injured a couple games ago, so they put in Brock Glenn. And Brock Glenn might be the worst quarterback I've ever seen. There's a lot of bad ones, but he played very. Look at his stats against Duke. It's bad.
Brock Glenn?
Yeah, he's bad, man. Look at the box score.
Brock Glenn.
Hey, guys, I'll be right back in a sec, okay?
Yep.
We're jumping off, Jared.
9 for 19, 110 yards, and 2 interceptions is bad, man.
Wow.
That's bad. That's under horrible. 50% and didn't throw a touchdown. Yeah. He's a freshman, so you gotta give him some time to become a person, but his QBR is a 46.
He definitely looks like he would sell like life insurance or something like that.
And he probably will here in a couple of years. But we've been on for a long time.
Like I said, I want to catch up with you real quick before we jump off. But I'm gonna go get some water out of my well since we don't have electricity here, and I'm gonna warm up my record player so that I can at least listen to some oldies before I go to bed. So hopefully, where Gus Johnson lives in Columbus, Ohio, I think they do have cell service there.
Let Gus know that you have a full rack of wood so you can start a fire tonight. So
I'm pretty sure they're naming the field at Ohio State after Gus Johnson. So, some people just have it worse than others, but
Right.
we'll go out on that end. I should go out playing a clip of Johnny Carson back in the day.
I mean,
All right,
since
guys.
that comet's in the sky, we can also just, do the star and alignments, just make sure you know where you're following, and you'll go there, and that's where you'll find your cell service. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I typically go by horse and buggy to the Penn State game, so it works out.
And since you don't have service or internet, somebody's got to send you the Jimmy Carson stuff so you can post it.
Yeah, the only reason that I even have service right now is because I have one of those. What are those things called that Elon makes?
I'm not
What's
sure.
it called? Starlink.
Not sure. Yep.
All right, guys. See you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Jared, thanks for coming on. Brett, thanks for coming on.
Thanks,
See you guys
bud.
next week.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
See you guys.
See ya.